In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating some techniques on how to revitalize old Christmas lights. Warning, old Christmas lights typically operate on house power, which is dangerous, so be careful and ensure you know what you're doing. Okay, here, this first set of lights, just looking at them from a glance, you can see that most of the bulbs are all burned out. Now at this point, you can just pretty much tell that this strip is not worth repairing, because there's just too many dead bulbs in it. Now, this can be more difficult if your strip has colored lights, because they can be a little bit harder to look into. But if you just first thing look at the strip, and if you see blackening or burnt out filaments in a whole bunch of places, then the strip's probably not worth repairing. But if you just scan it and see just a couple, and you just replace those, that is the easiest and quickest way to get it going. Now with this string of lights, each of the light bulbs, just at a glance, seems very clear and crisp, and when you look closely at the little filaments, you can see they are quite sharp looking. And so, since the whole strip seems really good condition, and I've looked over it and it just all looks good, the next thing you can try is lots of light strips have fuses in the plug, and so if you just use a flat screwdriver and you open the plug up, you can pull out the fuses one by one and either look at them to see if they're in good condition or use a multimeter and test them. In this case, the one fuse just comes right apart and there's no actual filament in it, so this is the problem. So here, to fix this, I am just going to wrap it in tinfoil since I don't have a replacement fuse. Now this is technically dangerous because you are bypassing a safety measure, but in this case, I'm not too worried about this strip, and I feel like the next bulb down the line will act as my fuse, so use this with caution. But just testing it out, and it works. Now, this string of lights, most of the bulbs just all look good at a glance, but one is missing. And I don't happen to have a replacement bulb that fits into that slot. So for this, yet again, I'm going to make sure it's unplugged, and then I'm going to crinkle up some tinfoil, and I'm just going to stick it in there, push it in with a screwdriver, and that will make the connection. Now you can do this a couple of times, but depending on how many bulbs are on your string, if you do replace too high a percentage of bulbs, then it'll overpower the rest of them and they'll just blow. And yep, that fixed it, so now here's a bigger string of lights. Half the string is not working because this string is in two sections. So now, to test it, what I'm going to do is just find an end. Once you've found an end, I'm just going to pull out the bulb right on the end, and then I'm going to replace that one with a piece of tinfoil, being sure to unplug it before actually inserting the tinfoil. And then I'm going to just crumple the tinfoil up again and put it in place. Doing this, then we are going to alternate the bulb going down, and assuming only one bulb is dead, the moment you pull out the dead bulb, it will come back on. So, you just pull a bulb out, move it to the next one, put it in, and you're alternating, so there's always one bulb missing. Thus, the dead bulb should show up, but in case of multiple dead bulbs, I'm also going to test each bulb before inserting it with a 9-volt battery just to confirm that it does light up. Now, there are cases where the way the bulbs are built, they will bypass if they go dead, and in that case, the bulb will not show up with the 9-volt battery, but it will still power the strip. Depending on how many there are, you might not mind having one bulb not shining. But here, just replacing them one by one. Oh, and there. The bulb pulled out. Must have been the dead one because now it's working. Now just to demonstrate the bulb that's dead but works, here's another bulb. We're just going to stick that in. It lights up the rest of the string, but it doesn't come on. So with that, you would have to actually test it with a multimeter to confirm, but Here, there we go, and the strip is on. Now, just to go back, unplug it and remove my little piece of tinfoil, and going to put a bulb in there to get that working again, because we have figured out which is the dead bulb. So to remove the dead bulb, you just bend out the wires and you pull out the old one, just straighten some if you have some spares, and then stick them back in and bend the wires down, and then you can just put it in place and you're good to go again. All the bulbs should be working. Now, just to compare here, we have a very short string compared to a very long string. So proportionally, each bulb on the short string gets more power because it's spread out between less bulbs. So when I connect it to the 9-volt battery, it lights up nicely, but it won't be nearly as bright as the one that's designed for less power from the big string. Here's a side-by-side comparison. The bulbs can handle more power for short periods of time, but they will burn out quicker. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.